Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Today my target range was reached, the first target level, the 0.618 Fibonacci retracement level of this wave 1 here. To the upside and to the downside, we hit my target level. You can see this was the target area that I defined for this move down. And we've come to the first level with an accuracy of, I don't know, $1. You can see that here. If we can't even see a difference actually. So definitely, yeah, maybe $1 difference, maybe less. So we accurately hit here the target of this scenario. You remember this is the scenario that I gave you when we were up here. This was my target area back then. When we came up, we hit it here also very, very accurately, all by using Fibonacci extension and retracement levels. When we then came down, gave you the price target here of, there was an area here that I gave you first. We did come into it. This was when we were up here. I had a lot of comments back then, as always, you know, when you're too bearish or when you get bearish, oh yeah, we're never gonna see $3,500 Ethereum again. But everybody who's been following me here with these Ethereum videos will know that there was a target area up here that we reached. I remained bearish throughout and did tell you from the beginning, because of this long move down, that I wasn't actually sure if I was bearish enough. I showed you this alternative scenario, which is not up or down. I remained bearish all the time throughout here. The second one here was even more bearish. Overall, you know, it's up to you if you define it bearish or not, because eventually I see this as a correction of an impulse to the upside, right? So we have here the beginning of that wave down there at $1,700. We moved all the way up here, quite bullish. Then what we are doing now is just we are correcting this move that we made up. It's completely normal, totally normal. We were overbought here, for example, on the higher time frames. We're going to take a look at that, and then we came down. So in my view, this was definitely predictable. I mean, we did it on this channel. Everybody who's been following me on this channel knows that, yeah, or was at least prepared for this, I think. And this is looking good. This is looking good. It's doing what has been expected, and we want to talk about what could happen next. In my view, I think also if you know my videos about Bitcoin, I do think we're coming down further into this target area. Yeah, I don't think this is the maximum. Also, I had a good comment today by one of my viewers, and thanks for that. It's about highlighting that if I give you here a price target area, and this cannot be closer. This cannot be closer. What I do here is I give you, I mean, you can use these as resistance and support levels, absolutely, and then you've got a spot point price here, yeah, and I give you that in every video basically. Here I mentioned the $2,924 level, yeah, the 0.618 fib level, which logically then was the next support. So this is the next target, but I also give you a target area because this is based on Fibonacci levels and probabilities and what a market can do in a certain scenario, because this is based on the Elliott wave count. And what we're doing here is in this wave to the downside, which is in my view a wave 2. Otherwise we wouldn't come down that far. Typically in a wave 2 you come down that far, or it would be expected that we come down here at least, well, not at least, but this is the area between the 0.618 fib level and what many altcoins do. You come down all the way to the 0.887 Fibonacci retracement level here at $2,076. What I need to say, and that was mentioned in the comment, that I should make people aware that oftentimes if I give you this range, it's up to you. Obviously, if you want to wait for the lowest price, it doesn't always get reached. Yeah, this is a range. It could turn around at this fib level. It could turn around at this fib level. Could turn around at this fib level. Typically, it will turn around at one of the fib levels. Typically, you would not turn around here in the middle, and we've seen that from crypto to crypto that these fib levels get hit. You wouldn't turn around somewhere in the middle. So if you want a dollar cost average in or out at these levels, that might be a good idea. But bear in mind, and that's why I personally said, for example, buy limit orders. They get triggered when I sleep or whatever, when the price gets into this area, basically because, for example, here, let's say the $2,076 level, well, the price might reach it for a minute, for 5 minutes, whatever, and then you might get another move up. So it could just be a fast wick where many people are just don't see it, it gets bought up quickly and you're just not fast enough to buy. So many retail traders or investors will not have a chance to buy at this area, because typically at the absolute low, you see a very quick recovery, as we saw here in July. We saw it here, yeah. So you saw a very quick recovery, and also here. So if you don't have a limit order placed there, and sometimes even the limit orders don't get triggered, yeah. So sometimes it's luck as well. But just to make clear here, in this area, you sometimes won't see or you sometimes won't have a chance to buy the lowest price. So if people wait for a $2,000 Ethereum because I tell you this is in my range, the lowest area, it doesn't mean we necessarily get all the way to the downside. There is a high probability that we're going to turn around in this area, because what the Elliott Wave method is telling us, it gives us a range, ideal target levels for a certain wave, and we're now in an ABC correction within a wave 2 in my view, and in that wave 2 you typically come down into this target area. That is why we could already predict this area when we were up here. As always, there is not only one scenario, in this case there were two scenarios, both pointing down, with at the moment, however, the more bearish one seems to be playing out. So nevertheless, the direction was all the way down, and I did show you in the recent video here this downtrend, and so far it's adhering to it. And even yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or was it today? Can't even remember. I think it was even today. I gave you this, I showed you here this triangle, this potential bearish pennant, and I said this would be a continuation pattern with the most likelihood. So we were moving here into this apex, and I said that probably at some point today you're going to break out here. Well, when we did that, obviously if you come from above, continuation to the downside in this case, and it hit here this resistance support, this Fibonacci level. And again, with Fib levels, I find them much more reliable than any support or resistance level, because a lot of people would have told you that the next support is down here at 2,648, this previous support. And while it is probably a technical support where we are going to find support, it would have been much more tricky for many people to find out that this is actually a key support here. Yeah, because you don't really see it here in this moving up and down, you don't see it. Yeah, there was a bit of support here, there was a bit of resistance maybe here, but that's it. But you can see how accurately, again, the Fibonacci levels worked. Perfect. So that's just as a side note. And if you want to learn more about that, you can check out my second channel. You can find a link in the description. More Trading Online, where I also talk about, where I carry out an analysis of different, started basically doing S&P 500 analysis on this channel as well, but it's also about tutorials about technical analysis and all sorts of things I talk about on this channel here. If you really like the content, maybe you want to even consider to join as a channel member. Doesn't cost you more than the price of a more expensive coffee, like a Starbucks coffee per month, but you get lots of content, additional content, live streams, and so on. So maybe you, it's a great community. It's a great community. So if you're interested, maybe try it for a month and see if you like it. And you can find a link for that membership also in the video description. Now, how does it carry on? In my view, we are going to go further down from here. And my reason for that is that Bitcoin, and I would need to go to Bitcoin, but Bitcoin has made a lower low. Yeah, it has made a lower low, even though it was only a wick and it was bought up quickly. It's we haven't seen a sustainable positive reaction to this yet, and this has pushed the price further down, further towards my target area for Bitcoin. And if you've been following me, you know that my target for Bitcoin is somewhere down here in the yellow area between 20 and 29k. So I remain bearish at the moment until I see an impulse here to the upside, which we haven't seen yet. And because we haven't seen that yet, I have to assume that we're coming down further, even though we might be here overbought, oversold, and even though we see here on the 4-hour chart a bullish divergence. So some sort of positive short-term reaction to the upside might even be possible. But you see this bullish divergence, which basically means that you see lower lows here on the price chart, but you see higher lows on the RSI. So basically the RSI, the relative strength index, the momentum indicator here, is diverging from the price, which is all that means. And that means that the momentum, the downward momentum, is slowing down, and you can very, very easily see that. But that is totally normal when you approach a support line, yeah, because you can see how sharp we came down here. You lose the downtrend a little bit, you get less and less and less and less. So that's pretty much what happened. Overall, this pennant here has formed now into something like a broadening descending wedge, which we talked about before, which is basically a descending wedge, just broadening. It's also a bullish pattern, well, bullish pattern. Well, it's a reversal pattern. It's a potential reversal pattern, which means because you were oversold here, also you had key support, that you could now see a little bit of a bounce to the upside. But that would be far too early to say, right, we are now moving up, because you're still in a downtrend here. As long as we don't break this descending trend line here, and at least the 20-day moving average, where both are sitting currently at around $3,750, then I wouldn't be bullish, you know, on Ethereum at the moment. But as we said in previous videos, as soon as you get here, as soon as Bitcoin finds the bottom, and Ethereum as well, you're gonna see here prices of around $8,000, maybe $10,000. And that is what I mentioned in the previous video, okay? Just to re-emphasize, and I had a few questions about that. I did mention a lot, the further the price comes down now, the more to the upside the price will swing in the next move. And I did show you before here this alternative target area, which we also hit, obviously, and which people didn't believe we would hit when we were up here, but obviously we did. Had I already spoken back then about this target area, people would have called me mad, which people call me now for when I talk about my price targets for some other altcoins. Yeah, gave you basically here this price target, and this was the first one, was obviously reached, and we moved down. I think it was even lower here. It was here, wasn't it? But based on this wave count and these fips here, and because these fips also, no, they were sitting here between the 0.5 and the 0.786 fib level. From here, if you draw the fips like that, you get in the next move up. Had we stopped here, in the next move up, you would only, let's say, if you go to the 2.618 Fibonacci extension level, you can only expect an $8,500 range or level, but basically in an extended impulse. But here with this, I think I moved it slightly, doesn't matter now. Oh yeah, here. Just crudely here, a little bit crude at the moment, but it doesn't matter. And then here in this scenario where you just have the fib levels extended, you could get all the way up to around $10,000, yeah, in a 2.618 extension. So that's why if you go down lower, it's like a spring that gets, you pull the spring and it gets whatever, you know what I mean? And then you go up and you go higher. You know, that's typically what happens. So I'm actually quite pleased. You win if the price goes down further, because you can buy cheaper. And what many people don't know and understand, the price goes even higher in the next move up. So I see this all very positive. A $3,000 Ethereum, it's great, it's crazy, it's great, but I think we might drop a little bit more. But you know, no financial advice, and it's not taken for granted. But at the moment, as long as we can't see here any sign that it's turning around, I wouldn't become bullish. Basically, you know, here on the daily, the MACD is still going down. The RSI, yes, it's oversold, and maybe a short-term trade here to the upside is possible, maybe. But then again, we're in a downtrend. Why would you go long, for example, right? Of course, if you dollar cost average in for a swing trade, a longer term thing, that might be different. You have to decide your strategy. But I would want to see a divergence here, as I said, and at least on the daily. On the daily, on the 2-day time frame, or on the 3-day time frame, and we can't see it at the moment. So until we see that, or when we see that, I might turn bullish, or at least tell you with a little bit of, you know, be careful, but things might turn around here. At the moment, on all time frames, it's just pointing down, and I think we could even max out here the whole range, and we could even see the $2,000 level. Let me know what you think where Ethereum will go, or do you think we are going to bounce here and move up from here? Or do you think we're going down to the 0.786 fib level at $2,400? Or do we even go down to 2,000? Or do we even go all the way down to the beginning of this wave up at around $1,700? Let me know what you think. And yeah, I'd be interested. And if you really like the content, maybe you want to join as a channel member, I'd really love to have you on board. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.